Recording
Thanks
is
again,
on.
everybody, for joining me for today's AI for Printers workshop. Today's workshop is about using the Deal Closing Playbook AI workflow prompt, and it's also about looking at AI from a perspective you maybe haven't considered before. Now, we all have a starting point, and perhaps you've already had your starting point and you're already using AI productively. Maybe you've tried AI and have been underwhelmed with the results of your experiments. Maybe today is your starting point. Wherever you're at on your AI journey, you'll find something that you can use from today's workshop. So today's workshop will be hands-on because we all learn best by doing, and we'll have a number of hands-on exercises. And later, for those of you that are attending live, I'll guide you through the use of today's featured AI prompt, the Deal Closing Playbook AI workflow prompt. But let's get ready for that. So the first thing is get ready with your favorite AI tool. That can be ChatGPT, it could be Claude, Google Gemini, Copilot, any of those. What we'll do today will work on any of the typical AI tools. So we'll go hands-on because there's just a huge difference between just passively consuming information and proactively participating in the workshop. Now, if you don't have a favorite, if today is your starting point, just go to chatgpt.com and create an account. It takes about 30 seconds to create that account. The free version will work for everything that we'll be doing today. Step two, go ahead and find your meeting chat and just give me a feel for how you and your team are using AI today. That could be A, B, C, or D. A is you use AI, but your team does not. B, a few people on your team are using AI casually. C, your team has a structured approach for using AI. D, maybe you have a team or don't have a team and you are working solo. Now, this is a free workshop, so really the only price of admission is your participation. So I just need to know that you're here and ready to proceed. So go ahead and just drop your A, B, C, or D, whichever one best matches you, into that chat. All right, I'm getting some signs of life from a number of you, so that's good. We are getting some feedback that tells me that you found the meeting chat, and we can continue from there. And we will continue by talking about why you're here today. Most likely, you heard me talk about the simple version of the Deal Closing Playbook prompt, either at aiforprinters.com, or maybe you caught wind of this workshop through my posts on LinkedIn. Some of you have requested the upgraded version of that prompt at aiforprinters.com so you could get even better results. We'll walk through that too. But for today's big win, I'm going to show you the AI workflow version of that prompt. And that's the one everyone actually wants. It's the one that helps you get real, meaningful work done with AI. It's the version of the prompt that produces the high-value results. You'll get today's Deal Closing Playbook AI workflow prompt in just a few moments. But let's build up to it by looking at the simple prompt. Honestly, this prompt is almost too basic, and I hope you don't use it, but I want to show it to you so that you can use that as the starting point to better see where we are going. Now, I have pre-run that, so I'm just going to stay high level and want to talk you through that. Let me just go back up to the top here. This is the same prompt that was on the screen. And the prompt is just a simple give AI information, get some information back. And the prompt goes like this: ask me about my print shop and sales team. Once I answer, create a simple follow-up checklist we can use after sending a quote so no deals slip through the cracks. And that's exactly what happens. We told AI to ask us about my print shop and sales team, and it does. It asks us 6 questions. Honestly, this simple prompt has asked us a little bit more than a lot of the simple prompts, so even that, we're already winning here. But AI is just getting a little information about our print shops. And like I said, I've just pre-run this just so we can move quickly through this part. And we've given it that information. So information about what type of jobs make up most of your revenue, how many active customers, what usually causes a quote not to turn into an order, and then a little bit about the sales team. Who follows up? Do you have a standard follow-up cadence? What system are quotes tracked in? And so I've just responded with that. Short run digital, 150 to 200 active customers. Price comes up a lot. Typical answers. you probably will see some of yourself in these answers. And that's fine. That works. This is what a simple prompt does. We give it information. Information comes back. It's a lot of information. The guardrails are pretty wide open here, so it gives AI a lot of room to navigate. A little too much room, perhaps, but we are getting exactly what we asked for. We're getting that information back. That's a quick peek at what we're calling a simple prompt. But we're building from there. We want to build up to that. We want to go to the upgraded version of that prompt, a prompt upgrade. This is the one that takes that idea and upgrades what we're working on. There's more context, and you'll see that here. Same thing, I'll show this at a high level in just a moment. If you want, this prompt is still available for you to get at ai4printers.com. You can request it there. But let me show you the upgraded version of that prompt. And it looks like this. Again, the same information that was on the screen. Now we're giving AI a role and a job to perform, a more specific job. We're telling AI, you are a sales recovery specialist, helping me create a reactivation sequence for deals that have gone cold. Isn't that nice? We can get some people woke up and some quotes, maybe just give them that nudge. We're telling AI, first ask me for the following information, one question at a time. And we're telling AI to ask us for about a short description of the print shop, our print shop, and the type of jobs we quote most often, how long a quote typically sits before we consider it cold, and what we've already tried when following up on stalled deals, the most common reasons prospects give or we suspect for going quiet. And then once AI has that information from us, we've told it to create a 3-touch reactivation sequence, including timing for each touch point, the method for each touch, a specific message or talking point for each touch, and a suggested final attempt message that leaves the door open without burning the relationship. Okay, so this is the upgraded prompt. You can see we're getting a little bit more information in play, a little bit more context about that information. And then finally, we're telling AI, make it ready to hand to my sales team and ask if I'd like to adjust the timing or tone. So what does AI do with that instruction? Exactly what we told it to. It presents question 1 to us. Give me a short description of our print shop. And we answer. And then it goes on to the next question. How long does a quote typically sit before you consider it cold? Even gives us a little suggested nudge there. A few days, a week, 2 weeks. And I'll just say about a week. After that, if we've not heard anything, it feels pretty cold. Question 3, cycling through the questions we told it to ask us. What have you already tried when following up on stalled or quiet details? Mostly a quick email, just checking in, sometimes a phone call if it feels like a good opportunity. And how many of us do this? And honestly, sometimes no follow-up if things get busy. All right. And be honest with our AI sales activation specialist here. And it acknowledges that. Thanks for being candid. That's extremely common in busy shops. And that final question, what are the most common reasons prospects give or that you suspect for going quiet after receiving a quote? And that's where you can provide more information. Price is probably the biggest one. Sometimes they're waiting on approval or budget. Put in your answers, of course. Other times they just get busy. And now AI has collected some important information from us. And there it comes, our 3-touch activation sequence, just rolling out ready for us to use. AI has a little more context and it's dialed it in with specifics about how it can be most helpful for you. Okay, so now we've seen the basic prompt. Now we've also seen the upgraded version of that, the prompt upgrade. And now let's move on to what we really want to talk about, and that is an AI workflow prompt. This is what you came here for. This is the Deal Closing Playbook AI workflow prompt. This is the prompt I'm going to give you today. It's the one that turns AI from interesting into useful. It's you and AI working together over multiple steps in the process where AI does the hard work and you check in to keep it pointing in the right direction here. So I'll walk you through that one now so that you can see the improvements as we progress from a simple prompt to an upgraded version of that simple prompt And then now this one, the AI workflow prompt. And then right after that, we'll go hands-on when I share the Deal Closing Playbook AI workflow prompt with you. So here is the AI workflow prompt. If I get my mouse pointed in the right direction, there we go. So this is the exact prompt I will be sharing with you in just a moment. And there's a lot in there. You can ignore it, but there's a lot of instructions in there. The key is you just need to be able to copy and paste. And so we copy and paste and we run that. And now AI takes on an even more powerful role here with us. AI says, I am your sales and marketing closer side partner for commercial printing. And we're going to turn your current quote sent, hope they reply reality into a repeatable, low friction deal closing playbook that your team can run even when things are slammed. Doesn't that sound nice? Don't we all want something like that? Well, a quick note, most print shops don't lose deals at the closing moment. They lose them earlier because the next step isn't locked in. Value isn't crystal clear and follow-up is inconsistent. This playbook will fix that by making closing a process and not a personality trait. So we're getting a nice introduction onto how this AI-powered expert is going to help us. It continues by saying, here are the steps we're going to walk through. 7 steps. Define deal closing objectives, outline the deal closing process, identify common objections, developing negotiation strategies, implementing a follow-up system for closing, measuring closing performance and improvement, and then a final review and implementation. So AI is going to offer to take us through all of those steps to build our deal closing playbook. But it even does more, because before we start, maybe we're scratching our head and saying, really, what is this deal closing playbook that you're speaking of? And so AI says, before we start step 1, do you want a quick summary of the concepts behind these ideas first, or should we just jump right in? Well, AI will offer to give us that little bit of an extra start out of the starting blocks if we ask for that summary. And so here it is. AI rolls out this summary. I'll stay high level. You're going to see this for yourself in just a moment. But if we ask for the summary, here it is, the big idea behind the deal closing playbook, how each step fits together. And there are the steps with a little more detail around them. And the reality check. It's not going to magically close every deal, but what it will do, close the right deals more often, free mental bandwidth, create confidence instead of second guessing, and make no response the exception and not the norm. So there it is. There's our introduction into what is this deal closing playbook all about. And with that, we can jump into step 1. Asks us if we're ready. Of course we're ready. Let's do it. So step 1, is at each step, when we use an AI workflow prompt like this, each step will be introduced by AI. We're seeing the introduction. What are we accomplishing in this step? Before we design scripts, follow-ups, or negotiation tactics, we need to be clear on what closing well actually means for your shop. So it's introducing to what are we doing in this step. For a community-focused print shop like yours, closing objectives should balance revenue, margins, speed, and long-term relationships. Sounds good so far. I think we're on the same page with AI, but AI is going to collect that information from us, and it is going to say, based on what I know about you, here's where I think we can go with this. It's building more of that information. Now, instead of letting AI just run wild, it comes to the end of that step of its work, and it pauses and say, like, Dave, or whoever's running this, is this in alignment with what you're expecting? Do these objectives align with your sales goals? If so, we will proceed. And it's going to walk through each step in that process. I'll continue to stay high level here, but we can see that it's going to proceed. Step 2, same thing, asking us for information or to validate what it's puts together, all the way through step 2, step 3, and on and on. And of course, at any one of those steps, we can say, AI, you didn't quite get that one just right. So before we move on to that step, let's take a look at this. And we can nudge it in the right direction if we need to. But if we keep on going through this, we'll work through step 5. I think there were 7 in this one. There's step 6. Step 7, and we get to a final review and implementation. The final step is about turning everything we've built into a working tool, not a document that sits untouched. Okay, so there it is. And AI says, nice job, Dave. We did some work here together here, and now this concludes the deal closing playbook process. So again, I know I've said it before, I'll say it again. That was the high level overview just to give you a teaser of where we're going. I wanted you to see that first before I get the AI workflow prompt in your hands, which we'll do very quickly. But one more participation moment here, please, before we do. Is now that you've seen the different level of prompts, I want to do this one more check-in. Tell me how you are using AI today. Think about the improvement from a simple prompt to an upgraded prompt as a small jump, and the improvement to an AI workflow prompt, that's the huge leap. So does the way that you are using AI match up with simple prompts, upgraded prompts, or AI workflow prompts? And kind of think of it in terms of that famous line, that's one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind. The distance between A and B, that's that small step. The distance between B and C, that's your giant leap. So go ahead and drop that into the meeting chat, please. Give me a feel for where you are at on that. And we are getting a few responses. Some A's and B's, which is often what shows up here. Every once in a while, I'll see a workflow prompt version of that, but right in line with with the responses that we're getting here. All right, so let's go ahead and take that idea. You've seen the progression from a simple prompt to an upgraded prompt to an AI workflow prompt. Now it is time to get that AI workflow prompt into your hands. Here it is. It's on the screen. Now, before I go any further, I want to make sure you don't feel like you have to capture or remember all of this. This is what an AI workflow prompt actually looks like. You don't have to read it. You don't need to understand how it works. Just know that all you need to do is copy and paste. So I am going to now put this workflow into the meeting chat so that you can use it too. So for those of you that are attending live, you can copy it from the meeting chat in just a moment. For those of you watching the recording, if you want the exact workflow you're looking at here, I'll let you know how you can access that as well. So let me get that ready here. Just need to navigate a few more buttons on my computer, and we'll drop that into the meeting chat. I want to be very clear about the goal on this hands-on part of the workshop. The goal is not to finish it. The goal is to get a feel of what it looks like to work with an AI workflow prompt. And we're going to stop together after about 90 seconds. And I'll turn my camera off for that time, and then I'll come back on to bring us back together. If questions come up as you're using this, just make a note, and we'll cover those at the end. So the workflow prompt is now in the meeting chat. Just go ahead and copy that, paste that into your AI, run it, and let AI lead your work. You can ask for the summary. You can hop right into those first steps. So I'll give you 90 seconds with my camera off to try that AI workflow, and I'll be back with you after that. About 60 seconds left. And thank you, Sean, for your comment, suggesting that it might be easier to save to the notepad. So that's a great idea too. So for all of you that have copied it out, make sure you get a copy of that and save that as a text document so that you can reuse it later. We have about 25 seconds left. All right. Well, let's pause here. So even if you're in the middle of something useful, you don't need to finish this right now. What I want you to notice is not the answers, it's just what happened. Take a look at what you experienced when you used that AI workflow prompt. Did AI start asking you questions you maybe didn't expect? Did that feel more like a conversation than typing a command? Was that easier than you thought that it would be? Now, let's shift the focus back to my screen, because if you keep going right now, you'll actually miss the part that makes this even more valuable. So if you have questions, hang on to those questions and we'll bring those back up at the end of the workshop. So here, speaking of questions, here's a simple and very important question. How can AI help me become more profitable? And for that, we're going to look towards the AI profitability formula, which is on the screen now. And let's start with the productivity element of this formula, because what we're doing here is we're looking at productivity on its own. That's good, of course. But if we multiply that productivity by our performance and multiply that by our engagement, that's where we get the maximum profit from AI. We'll start with the productivity element of this formula, and we're going to make it personal to you. So get your AI ready again, because in a moment, I'll give you the AI instructions you can use to build your own productivity toolkit right here in this workshop. So let's set the stage. On the screen now, this is the start of a pre-built productivity toolkit for sales and marketing in commercial printing. It includes all of the areas of responsibility for this role, and we'll just align those across the top. And you can think of that as your job, your role, responsibilities. And then going down in each column, you'll see the toolkit fill with the daily work within each area of those, each one of those areas of responsibility. That looks like a lot of information on the screen, and that's because it is. But for now, just know that this toolkit is a collection of AI workflows. You could ignore all of the other details for now. We'll bring more attention to that in a few moments. So now it's your turn to create your own productivity toolkit for your role right now. So I'm going to paste this AI prompt into the meeting chat, and you can use it to create your personal productivity toolkit. I'm also going to run this right along with you so you can see it in real time. You can do it with me now, or you can grab it from the meeting chat and run it on your own later. So I'm going to copy that in to the meeting chat. But this one comes with a little extra instruction right away. So I'm going to put that into the meeting chat. And when you copy that out, first of all, start a new chat or a new tab in your AI. Make sure you're doing this in a new chat. Select everything that's in that meeting chat and paste it into your AI, but don't run it yet. There's one thing that's important for us to do. So copy that out. And I'm doing the same thing here. I'm going to start a new chat. I'm going to paste it in. I'm not going to run it right away, because what I would like you to do is take a look at those top 3 lines. They are pre-filled in a way that probably matches up pretty closely with a lot of you on the call already. But take a moment and fill those in to make them specific to you. If you're the owner, great, you can leave that. If your role is something else, change that. Where it says owner, change it to your role. What's your company size? Change that number to reflect your company size. And every so often, we'll get someone from the outside of our world of commercial printing. So if that's you, welcome. This will work for you too. But just go ahead and change that to whatever industry you're in. Once you have those 3 lines customized, then you can run that. Everything else is instructions for AI to build the productivity toolkit. And so I am running mine on the screen here now. And there it is. Our roles and responsibilities are coming in across the top. My screen's a little bit on the smaller side, so I have to scroll left and right to see it all. But we are starting to see all of that drift in. Now, experience is showing that about right out of the box, this is going to be about 80 to 90% accurate right out of the box. Now, if you're finding something that says, yeah, no, that's not how I do my role. I am not responsible for risk, governance, and continuity, just to use an example on mine. If you're seeing something that just looks a little bit out of place, you can just have that conversation with AI. Say, I am not responsible for whatever it is. Find a different one for me. Or if you want a specific one and use fill in the blank instead. So if you want, you can tweak that a bit. But again, experience shows that this, even with just that little bit of information, this is going to be about 80 to 90% accurate right out of the box. So this can look like a lot, but don't let that intimidate you. If it feels overwhelming right now, don't worry. I just look beyond that for the moment. And so let's take that back to my slide presentation here, because on your screen, you should now have something that looks like this productivity toolkit for sales and marketing in commercial printing. Again, don't let the amount of information overwhelm you. This isn't a homework assignment that you need to turn in at the end of the month, but your toolkit should look similar to this. But there is one important difference. What you created on your screen, that's not a toolkit yet. You have a toolbox with a bunch of labels on it, and that still needs to get filled with tools. Well, how do you fill it with the tools? Well, what's on my screen is a completed toolkit for sales and marketing and commercial printing, and all of those tools are in place, one for each box. When I gave you today's Deal Closing Playbook workflow, that's a workflow that came from this productivity toolkit for sales and marketing and commercial printing. So how do you get a completed toolkit like this? There's two ways. First, you can buy this pre-built, ready-to-use toolkit with all of the workflows from AI for Printers. And the second way is you can learn how to build the tools for your own toolkit. It's actually surprisingly easy to do. Now, let's take another look at that productivity toolkit you created for yourself. You might see one of those items in the toolkit and think, AI can create a deal closing playbook, but it can't do, and then there's a blank to fill in. And you might be tempted to fill in that blank with something from your toolkit. I'm here to tell you that if it's on your screen right now in your toolkit, not only can AI help you do it, but in your current role, you plus AI can do the job at least 10 times faster with no compromise in quality and usually an increase in quality. All right, there's a lot there, and we need to break that down a bit. One part at a time. In your current role, it's you plus AI. You've already seen that both in my overview and if you've tried the AI workflow yourself. We're not letting AI just run on its own. We are coming alongside AI, so it's us working together, you plus AI. And then the next part, can do the job at least 10 times faster. There should be no question about that. If you've even just get a little bit of a taste of that AI workflow and the speed at which work can be done, should be no question that it's at least 10 times faster. How about no compromise in quality? Well, that's the one where people can maybe start to think, oh, really, Dave, no compromise in quality? Well, it is true. There's no compromise in quality because you and AI are working together, and your role in that work is to be that checkpoint as you move through the work. You are the quality control. So if there's a quality compromise somewhere, that finger starts to point right back at us because that's our role in how we work with AI. And then there's that last part, that increase in quality, usually an increase in quality. That's going to become increasingly true over time. I don't know if I could have said that with a straight face 2 or 3 years ago, but AI is progressing so fast and it's becoming more and more true every single day. That's how it works with our current role. Now think about our future role. You can also significantly accelerate and many times skip the lengthy learning process that's associated with your future roles. So as your work evolves, in your future roles, you can also significantly accelerate that learning process because what's the best way to learn something? It's to do it. You already had a taste of that too. We've already been using AI to do the work. The best way to learn how to do something with AI is to do it with AI. The learning is baked into each AI workflow prompt. You experience that when it offered to give you an overview of what you'll be working on, and it also introduces each step in the process of that workflow. That's what we're doing here. An AI workflow helps you learn by doing. It breaks the work down into smaller steps, and our job is to provide that quality control. We're looking at what good looks like at every step. So if you need to learn how to do a task in that toolkit, the AI workflow will help you learn by doing. So not only is it helping you do your current role better, it's helping you learn how to do new roles once you have the AI workflows for that role. All right, a little bit more on this slide. Most people are going to find at least 5 to 10 and probably even more workflows in that productivity toolkit. Find the ones that are really going to move the needle and saving a bunch of time. It's not unusual to find that people will often shave off maybe 20% of their daily work time. And here's an easy way to think about that. If you do your work Monday through Friday, now you can reduce that time by 20% and do it Monday through Thursday. Then Friday can be your strategy day where you work on improving your company's performance. And that brings us back to this AI profitability formula, because with AI, a great way to become more strategic and increase your company's performance is to run what we call performance experiments. Now, a performance experiment, that's simply testing a strategic improvement to see how much it increases the performance in a specific area of your business. In this part of the game of business, whoever runs the most performance experiments wins. Let's bring that closer to our world. If you're the printer running the most performance experiments, AI will help you be the printer that wins. So get your AI again, and I'm going to give you instructions to build your own performance experiment toolkit. When you build that performance experiment toolkit, you'll see key performance indicators. That's what's on the screen now, and they're going to go ahead and align themselves across the top. In plain English, these are the things that you are responsible for doing better over time in your role. And then in the columns, those are going to fill in with a combination of experts in the field and the known strategies from those experts to help you get the results that you desire. This is another toolkit filled with AI workflows. And here's the prompts that we will use so that you can build your own performance experiment toolkit. Now, on this one, it's important to add it to the same AI chat that you used to create your productivity toolkit. AI will add the performance toolkit to the same chat as your productivity toolkit. Let me get that one into the meeting chat for you as well. Again, you don't have to worry about reading it or understanding it. You just need to be able to copy and paste. So there it is. That is in the meeting chat. And now take that out of the meeting chat, copy that, go back to the same chat that you used to create your productivity toolkit, paste it in. We don't need to change anything this time because AI already knows about us. And just paste it in and let your performance experiment toolkit take shape right in front of you there. So again, you might be surprised, pleasantly surprised at how much AI can know about you in a very short amount of time. What are the areas in your role that will be helpful to improve? On mine, I'm seeing things like increased revenue growth rate, improving gross margin. These are the categories. And then if we look under each one of those categories, there are the experts and the suggested strategies from to help you move those categories forward. All right, so now you're starting to see how you can get a lot of real life expertise with AI side by side. Okay, so what we've done is we've created another toolkit filled with AI workflows. This toolkit brings in the knowledge of the world-class experts. This toolkit represents tens of thousands of dollars of world-class consultant-level work completed at the speed of AI. We're getting world-class results, and we're compressing clock time and calendar time. We could run any of these AI workflows just like we did earlier with the AI workflow for the playbook. And just like before, it would be a simple copy and paste exercise to start a process where we add context as AI interviews us and does its work at each step of the workflow. So now take a look at your performance experiment toolkit. What you'll see on your screen is a bunch of experiments. Everything in that performance experiment toolkit on your screen can be turned into the bunch of experiments to help you increase the performance and effectiveness of your business. AI can help you run those experiments very quickly and very efficiently. AI is going to pull information out of you. It'll help you bring things to the surface that you might not have even thought about. And it'll get you working with the knowledge of a world-class expert to help you with that performance experiment. Now, every business goal can be improved by running experiments. Out of 10 ideas, most will move the needle in the right direction. One might even backfire. That's part of experimenting. Somewhere in that mix, you're going to find that breakthrough idea. And the only way to find that breakthrough is to run the experiments. Now, here is the key. Speed is what changes the game. AI doesn't just give you more ideas, it helps you test them 10 times faster. So imagine this. Pretend that you and I are equally skilled, but you work by running experiments the old way, while I use AI to run experiment after experiment. And by the end of the quarter, I'll have run 20 experiments in the time that it took you to run 2. Well, guess who wins the experiment race? That's why we say whoever runs the most performance experiments wins. This is a major aha moment for people in this AI-saturated world. It's access to world-class expertise from proven experts to help you run these experiments that's available on demand at your fingertips. Here's the even bigger picture. In your future role, imagine becoming the person who, no matter how the world shifts, can always produce results 10 times faster than anyone else still adapting. That's what staying ahead really looks like. So now that you've seen 2 toolkits filled with AI workflows, you've seen the productivity toolkit to help you with your daily work, and you've seen the performance experiment toolkit to help you improve the performance of your business. Now the only question is, how do you put the tools into your toolkit? This is the engagement part of the AI profitability formula. And you really have 3 options. You don't have to put the tools in your toolkit. We can all agree that the do nothing option is probably the most natural response when a topic feels new or uncertain. And when I talk to printers about AI and I listen to them, this is what I hear. They're afraid that if they wait too long, a competitor is going to use AI to move faster and sell more and communicate better. Suddenly they feel like they're getting left behind because they waited for things to kind of settle into place. And the other fear is this. I'll hear, we don't know where to start, so we'll just start later. And I get that. I completely get that. But you all know time is one thing we just can't get back. So doing nothing, that can feel safe in the short term, but it's the only option that guarantees no improvement and no competitive advantage. Second option is you can do this yourself. You really can. But it'll take you time to filter through all of the AI buzz and hype to find the good stuff. Doing it yourself is absolutely possible, but it comes with a very real cost. It comes with the cost of the time required to sort through all of that AI buzz and hype to find the good stuff, the trial and the error, the inconsistency, and all of that weight falling on one person. And let's face it, all the printers I talk with, you're already stretched thin, and adding AI workflow engineer on top of everything else, probably not the way you want to handle that. And the third option is do it with us. So just consider that if some of the things you've seen here today, maybe you've seen some things that you have not seen before, that might suggest to you that we understand some things about AI that others do not, and that you might want to consider continuing your AI journey with Marketing Ideas for Printers, because we are laser focused on helping printers with their AI journey. So instead of trial and error, you get traction. Instead of overwhelm, you get clarity. And instead of falling behind, you can actually move ahead. Honestly, that's why I do these workshops, so that we can help you get started. And it starts with just one of the AI workflows, like the Deal Closing Playbook from the AI for Printers platform. So no matter which of these three paths feels like your next step, the most important thing is simply not to leave empty-handed. So use that deal closing playbook workflow I shared with you earlier so that you can take your first real step forward with AI in your business. Now, there's another version of option 3 here as well. And before we wrap up, I want to offer another way for you to continue with us. And this is completely up to you if you want to participate. Today is all about showing you how AI workflows work and letting you experience one hands-on. Today is also the last time I'll tell you that you can get up to 10 more AI workflows as we repackage the toolkits for 2026. Here's why this matters now. Printers will always be able to give feedback, but the early feedback has more impact on the work that we do to repackage the 2026 toolkits. Helps me see which workflows real printers are actually using so the future version of the toolkits stay grounded in the real world needs. So as a thank you, I'll send you those selected workflows so that you can start using them and see what actually helps in your shop. There's no obligation beyond that. So if you would like to be included, just let me know by December 22nd. If you are here live, and if you would like to get 5 more productivity workflows and 5 more performance experiments workflows, if you're here live, just drop your work email address into the chat or catch me during the Q&A after we stop the recording. If you're watching the replay, just use the form below this video and you'll get the next steps. Either way, you're all set from today's workshop. So let's wrap things up. I'd like to share why I'm doing this. For me, this is personal. I started exploring AI partly out of curiosity, but mostly because I wanted to make sure my company, Marketing Ideas for Printers, was prepared for a world about to be saturated with AI. But it became so much more than that. This is personal. I've spent my career helping printers succeed, and I've never seen a shift like this one. AI isn't a trend, it's a transformation, and you can approach this transformation not with fear, but with confidence. So I want you to have those tools, the confidence and the support, not only to keep up with AI, but to lead with AI. Honestly, that's why we built the AI for Printers program, specifically for printers like you, because it fits perfectly with our promise of helping you sell more printing. And that brings us to the end of the workshop itself. Everything you need to understand how AI workflows work and how to start using them is now complete. If you're watching the recording, you're in a good place to take what you've seen today and apply it on your own time. For those of you who are here live, I'm going to stop the recording now and stay with you for a bit to answer questions or to help you think through how this might apply in your business.